Please listen carefully.
Well, hello, universe, and welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Kristy Jansen.
And I'm Summers McKay.
And we're part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to one focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, hump day-worthy podcast. Today is Wednesday, the 27th of January, 2021. Are we still in palindrome days, right? Where it's 0127. No, we're not.
No, we're not. The 22nd, I guess, if you did it that way, would be
right.
But, 1/21/21 was pretty cool.
Yeah. And then now it's not. So today's just Wednesday. So we were actually remarking that today's just kind of like a normal Wednesday in the world. We've had a pretty intense month so far with a lot of big things happening. And this is the first Wednesday that we're all just sort of chilling, cozy in our homes with the rain outside.
Yeah, this year. But you know what? Today is a momentous Wednesday. You know why, Summers?
Tell me why.
Today is our 100th episode of the Optimist Daily Update.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Congratulations. Happy 100th episode, my friend. I did not know this. I just got chills. I'm sure everyone listening did too.
Right up there with insurrection, impeachment, and inauguration.
As far as momentous Wednesdays go. Exactly. And 100th episode of the Optimist Daily. So actually, as you know, we at our home are attempting to, through unimaginable amounts of pressure, figure out how to relocate our entire family without disruption to our daily routine and without disruption to work, right? And I know that this is an unimaginable proposal that we would do this without me ever missing another day of recording the podcast. But this morning when my husband and I were discussing relatively stressfully the plan for trucks, and we don't want to use a moving company, and he's thinking about driving a Penske truck with his friend driving another one, and blah, 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 blah. And I looked at him and I just said, but honey, every day that you're gone, it means it's more difficult for me to record the podcast. And that's the most important thing for me. And he kind of looked at me. But the simple fact is, Kristy, these last 100 episodes, working with you, meeting with you every morning, meeting with Amelia and figuring this all out together has been a fundamental anchor in my optimism. So thank you. And thanks for sticking in it with me.
Well, the feeling is mutual. So we are, a little love fest for both of us. It's
exactly.
100 podcasts and many more to come. That's what my goal is, right?
Exactly. Many more to come. And, in those 100 podcasts, we've seen just an absolute ballooning of listeners. And so everybody who's listening, thank you for sharing. Thank you for listening. Thank you for committing to our stories and letting us tell more stories and letting us inspire you. It's pretty fun. It makes our jobs even better every day. And it's really been an honor to serve you with the Optimist Daily Update. And as always, there are amazing stories on the Optimist Daily. And I can fully attest that even after I've had a trying morning with my husband discussing not so awesome things, when I turned to the headline on the Optimist Daily, my light shined brighter. I definitely was lifted. I think if it's cool, I want to go first today.
I think you should. Definitely go first today. So what's your story that you want to talk about?
My story is about stories. The headline reads, UK readers have broken records in 2020 as book sales soared. Now, we all know that the pandemic has been crazy, and we know that bookstores were really struggling. And what is really, really fascinating is that during this pandemic, it has truly reopened our eyes to the magic of reading, as book sales truly skyrocketed in 2020. And the first time since 2012, the number of books has been exceeded. More than 200 million books, which is the baseline, were sold in the UK last year. That's according to Nielsen Bookscan. So Nielsen estimated that the volume of print books grew by 5.2% compared to the previous year, with more than 202 million books being sold in the UK last year. What I love about this is that, books and stories and positivity and the escapism that comes from letting your mind expand with creativity really has served us all well. And while we are tending our houseplants and doing our journaling and trying to get our morning yoga in with cats and toddlers, that time to read stories, to read books really gives us all space and creativity. I thought the list of the books that were best-selling were pretty interesting. I have not read most of these, but the year's best-selling title was Charlie Maxey's uplifting The Boy, the Mold, the Fox, and the Horse. A crime thriller came in second, Richard Osman's cozy crime thriller, The Thursday Murder Club. And the cookbook, Pinch of Nom, Everyday Light, in third. So all of those books I think are really charming. There were a bunch of other books that have done really well. And I do like that Delilah Owen's novel Where the Crawdads Sing is in the top 10. I just think this is a beautiful story, and it's a great reminder that there are places where we can escape to and find joy, even when we are having a hard time in the world at large. So yeah, Optimist Daily, bookstores, Where the Crawdads Sing. This is what we do. And I love to be in partnership knowing that our business has really gone gangbusters during this pandemic. And I think that similar, if we were to do an economic sentiment trend, I think businesses like books and positive storytellers have all done very well.
Yeah, I like this story. And I like that in addition to just more people reading, more people are actually reading print books and going back to these familiar places that bring sort of joy and escape. And, between the covers of a book, there are an entire other world, right? And to lose yourself in those words, something that I really enjoy. So thanks.
Yeah. The other thing about books is that you can't multitask. Right? There's no multitasking when you're reading. And
unless you have a book on tape and you're walking your dog, which I do quite a lot.
Right. Audiobooks have soared, but this story in particular is about print books. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things is, you guys know, when I watch TV at night, I watch it just with the subtitles. And when I'm watching it quiet with the subtitles, nestled in bed next to my daughter, I can't multitask. And so what I've found, even though it's not actually reading a book, which I think I might want to endeavor, because certainly if I can watch a show with subtitles, I can read a book quietly next to her. Mm-hmm. But I think what I have found is, I'm watching Bridgerton right now. We're making our way through Cobra Kai, but Bridgerton is my personal show that I watch, and I love it. But watching it in subtitles, I really can only consume about, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, because I'm reading it the whole time. There's no multitasking. I have to pay acute attention. And then I'm just sort of calmed and able to go to sleep. And so for me, even though it's not actually a book, it is kind of taking away the step of multitasking, which I think now in the work from home world, we multitask like crazy people. So there's a component of that too, why books really serve value for people.
Sure. And I think, and there's something very cozy, like right now it's raining. It's one of the first rain days in my neck of the woods here in Central California. And it's really a rainy day, which makes it a little warmer outside, but it's very wet. So definitely the cozy inside is happening. And the idea of curling up with a book and a cup of tea and a fire going.
So Kristy,
talk about water and wet outside. My story, and cozy inside. My story is about a company called Hydroloop. What they do is they have a system that lets you recycle the water in your own home. And I think this is such a fascinating idea. It makes me think about being on a boat, for example, or in the space station, right? Where you have water is one of those things that you really need. But once you use it, what do you do with the wastewater? Do you just flush it away, put it into the sewage, and then what happens to it? Or is there a way you can actually reclaim some of it and continue to use it? And that's what Hydroloop is doing. So imagine how much water and energy could be saved if we recycled all of that wastewater that goes down our sinks and shower drains in our homes, right? Mm-hmm. And fresh water is one of those things that is a scarce resource on this planet. And some people don't have access to it at all. So this is a system that it won several awards at the Consumer Electronics Show in 2020. I think the CES just happened or just happening. I haven't looked at what won this year, but Hydroloop stood out as an innovation with real potential to close the tap on wastewater. Haha.
Mhm.
And their goal was to create compact recycling systems that might be used in offices, hotels, apartment buildings, homes, and any other places that use a lot of water. And it's a way of lowering your water footprint using electricity powered systems that collect water from more things that have to do with cleaning, not
Right, gray water. Right, gray water is
but like
is
so
what it's
washing
called. Yeah.
machines, bathtubs, showers, as well as air conditioners. And the water is then cleaned and disinfected so it can actually be reused, though not as drinking water, but in a separate system for washing your clothes again or,
Right.
showering. It's just not for drinking. And if we did that, if we had like dual systems in our houses that had, recycled
Potable
water and then potable
versus
water
recycling.
separate,
Yeah.
we could lower our water use footprint so significantly. One of their most recent models that this story is focused on can clean up to 260 gallons of water per day, and that equals more than 90,000 gallons of water per year. It's not that bulky. It's not super complicated. It can get installed just right next to your water softener if you have one like we do, or your washing machine. And I think this is another thing that in the homes of tomorrow, in the hotels of tomorrow, this might be something that just becomes part of your standard equipment.
What I think is interesting about this is there are certain rules depending on territory or country or state or whatever, city or state, that prevent you from using gray water again, right? And I'd be very interested to see, and I immediately, as we're reading this story, I'm like IMing my husband with the link saying, let's figure out if we can put this in the house in Texas. Like we are in a desert and water is this incredible resource that has to be nurtured. And, I see all these postings from people who are like, stop trying to have big green lawns. And I think that this is very interesting because on a county by county sort of rollout, I'd be interested to see if this process and this technology kind of lifts some of those restrictions. I know that in California, there's like a ban against collecting rainwater, right? You can't collect rainwater in your yard. And that was done in effort to prevent basically water hoarding, but it's not a sound policy. So this technology plus policy changes plus education together could be exactly what you're saying, Kristy, which is like the home of the future.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought it was a neat solution. I think it's the 10th solution, or maybe it's not the 10th, but it's down there underneath it's not in our Optimist feed. It's in our emissary feed. You can find it on Today's Solutions if you want to go read that article. Other things on Today's Solutions includes a story on NOAA's, NOAH's, which is in Charlotte, North Carolina. They have a formula for long-lasting affordable housing. That was a story I almost wanted to highlight, but go read that. The White House press briefings are now going to be offered in American Sign Language in a quest for more inclusivity. We love that story.
We love that story, and I think it's crazy that it wasn't already in place. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. Sounds and smells of the French countryside are now protected by law. This is about the rooster Maurice,
right?
Making a nuisance in an urban neighborhood, and he won out, and they said, hey, it's okay for rural communities and to bring a little bit of rural into the urban France.
And we debated on this one simply because we thought about if there was a rooster next door while we were recording the podcast, it would be rough. But then I was like, but I'm going to have goats.
But I like supporting
exactly.
Having chickens and vegetable gardens in their yards.
Homesteading.
Homesteading, even in more urban settings. Trained dogs will be sniffing out COVID-19 at NBA games. And that's a use for the super sniffers in our midst, our canine friends. That could be a fun, interesting thing. Magnesium promotes healthy sleep. Here's some tips on how to get it. There's an AI system that reads user reviews to help improve EV charging access.
These inflatable pants are designed to make motorcycles safer. There are nano factories that are designed to reduce Unilever's environmental impact. And that and much, much more is available on the optimistdaily.com today and every day. Thank you all for listening to the Optimist Daily Update. We promise to continue to share solution-based stories with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world and ensure it is changed for the good. Kristy, you have to go, so let's just jump to the end, reminding people to consider becoming an emissary on the optimistdaily.com for just $5, $15, or $50 a month if you're feeling it. Support reader-funded independent journalism if you have the means. Let's keep the Optimist Daily free to all who need it, supported by those who can. Kristy, have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Summers. You too.
Bye, guys.